everybody, and welcome back to our second podcast. For those who don't know me, my name is Niamh Minihane, and I'm a Senior Associate at Gardner Leader Solicitors. I'm here today with my colleague Lucy Butcher, who is also a Senior Associate at Gardner Leader, and we are both in the inheritance protection. So, hi Lucy, how are you?
Hi Niamh, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Very well indeed. Today, Lucy, we said we were going to talk about wills, didn't we? And I understand that you've actually had somebody contact you as a result of our last podcast. So I'll go over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi everybody. Thank you for listening again. Yes, someone contacted me following our first podcast. They knew we were going to talk about wills and just asked if we could cover a query that she had. So actually, I feel it'll be a good topic for today when we're talking about wills, Niamh. So I'll just go straight into it. She is living with her partner. They own the house together, and they've just recently had a baby. And she wanted to know what would happen to all of her assets if she died without making a will. So to start from the beginning, I'll be honest, I think she believed that all of her assets would pass automatically to her partner.
Okay, that's not unusual at all for clients to think that. If they've been living together for a certain period of time, then they automatically think, well, okay, is it the old 3-year common law wife? But obviously that doesn't apply.
No, absolutely. And one of my questions to her would be to any client would be actually, how are those assets held? So what I mean by that is the house held jointly or is it held jointly and severally? So we'd need to look into that. One thing I did say to her is that any jointly held assets, so like bank accounts or investments, would pass automatically to the survivor. But actually those assets in her sole name wouldn't, and actually would pass under the rules of intestacy.
Yeah, okay, and that's quite a shock for some people, isn't it, as well? Because the rules of intestacy aren't necessarily how clients want their estate, where they want it to go. It's governed by those old rules, which is back in 1925. So, it's really important then for clients who are unmarried to consider making their wills. And also, obviously, they've got the baby, so they need to they've got the opportunity in a will to appoint guardians.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually that's so important because I think a lot of people don't realise the importance of that clause in the will, because actually in the will, whoever is named as guardian will automatically then have parental responsibility for that child or children. So again, that was a bit of a shock because she didn't know that. And also I talked about the appointment of executors and you know, if something should happen to her, you know, she may not want all the assets to pass to the partner. She may want to leave some of those assets for the child. And therefore, choice of executors is so important because everyone manages money in different ways, don't they?
Yeah. So she could have the opportunity, if she wanted, to have professional executors, or the guardians and executors can be the same. It's a will then allows you to choose and name the people that you want to do it for you. Just flipping back to the children's side as well, I tend to advise clients to enter into a letter of wishes addressed to the guardians and trustees as to how they would want their children to be raised, what's important to them, if there's, a particular religion they want their children to be raised, what school they want them to continue or go to. So by making a will, you've got all of those elements that you can add in that will be able to give those clients peace of mind as well, really. And it's a working document as well. So I'd advise the clients to come back. I think every 3 to 5 years, I advise clients to review their wills. And also it's inheritance tax. That's important if you're not married. So I bet that was a shock as well, was it, when you discussed that with them?
Yeah, absolutely. And then I did also talk about the residence nil rate band as well. And depending on who she decided to leave the property to, whether that there would be a claim there. So there's actually quite a lot to cover there. And actually, just going back a bit, Niamh, I was just thinking one of the other things that, not necessarily in this case, but a lot of my clients don't understand is actually with the will, you can stipulate at what age you want your children to inherit. So, you know, under the rules and regulations, it's 18, isn't it? But I very rarely draw up a will where a child is to inherit at 18. It's normally 21.
21 or 25, isn't it? Yeah, 18 is far too young. But you're right. If they died without leaving a will and the children, which is very young.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
So, Niamh, I think we've covered quite a lot, and I'm just conscious that there is a lot more to talk about wills, and I think you briefly mentioned about inheritance tax and some of the exemptions that are available. And I think a popular topic that you get asked quite a lot is about second marriages.
Definitely, a lot of my clients are in second marriages because nowadays the dynamics of families have changed. And so I think that's quite an important topic and be an interesting topic to talk about maybe in the next podcast. To how do we divide the estate to keep both sides of the family and adult children happy? So that's quite good. We could do that unless there's anybody who is watching who has something that they want us to discuss. If they've got a question they want us to answer, then please drop an email or give us a tweet, and we'll happily consider discussing that at our next podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was just going to say is obviously we've spoken quite a lot covered a lot in a short space of time. If anyone listening does have any queries that they would like further advice on, or they're thinking about making a will, we do offer a 30 minutes a free appointment. So by all means, we're more than happy just to speak to someone if they've got any queries.
And now's the time to do it, really, that we're all in lockdown, although it's easy. Okay. Well, Lucy, it has been fab seeing you again, as always, and I look forward to seeing you at the next podcast, and we'll discuss the subject. If we haven't heard from anybody in between, we'll discuss the subject of second marriages and making their will. Yeah,
brilliant. Perfect.
Okay. Take care, Lucy.
Bye.
Bye.